Welcome to part 1 of our screencast, ELA Data Analysis. My name is Sabrina Macaruso, and I am the Senior Associate on the Teacher, Leader, and Coach Resources team at ANET. For part 1 of this screencast, we will first take some time to understand the primary purpose of our ELA data analysis, and then we will shift our focus to identifying a text and assessing the key areas of complexity, leveraging decisions 1 and 2 of our approach. Let's get started. You may know a good amount or very little about why it is important to analyze student data. So I want to kick us off by getting us on the same page about the rationale for doing this work. Understanding the meaning behind why we analyze student data is the most important part of the process in effectively leveraging data. The assessments serve as a useful barometer for teachers about the demands of the Common Core standards, including complex text, text-dependent questions, and high-quality writing prompts. Analyzing these provide a useful professional development opportunity for teachers to build their understanding about the demands of the standards, and then to help them make decisions about ways that they can improve their instruction and/or modify their curricular materials. In addition, analyzing the assessment alongside student data, including student writing, allows teachers to reflect on their teaching in previous interim cycles to help determine what students know and are able to do relative to what has been taught. Now that we've grounded ourselves in the why, let's dig into analysis together. On your screen, you are seeing our recommendations for ELA data analysis. Pause your screencast now to read through each decision. For part 1 of this 2-part analysis screencast, we will set our focus around decisions 1 and 2. As you may know, the biggest differentiator of a student who is successful in college is their ability to read and access complex texts. This is built into the structure of the Common Core and asking us to first start with considering the text that students read. The reason that we begin with text is that the standards themselves remind us that the texts are the center of the Common Core. For this reason, our first decision is to select a passage or linked passages to study more deeply. Let's begin with reviewing the major considerations for text selection. The first being the genre of the text. Ask yourself, what has been taught in recent units? What will be taught in upcoming units? Second, take a moment to review which passages contain short answer questions and which contain prose-constructed responses. Based on your students, which question types from the text will be most helpful for you to review? For this example in this screencast, we will be using a 3rd grade interim assessment passage titled Adorable Dormice. Now that we've identified our text, let's move forward to Decision 2. Identify the key understandings and qualitative characteristics of a passage and how the writing prompt targets them. Take a moment to pause your screencast in order to read the text, Adorable Dormice. Leveraging Decision 2, we are going to focus on our approach on understanding the text more deeply. A great way to accomplish this is to perform a text talk with others. When engaging in a text talk, it is important to ask yourself, what are the key understandings of this text? In what ways is this text complex? Pause your screencast now to review the approach to a text talk in this video. Next, complete the writing prompt on your own. While drafting your response, consider how the prompt targets the key understandings and complexity of the text. Completing the writing prompt provides teachers with a clear vision of success and more deeply understands what students will need to be taught in order to answer the focusing questions successfully. It is important to complete your own qualitative analysis of the text first so that you also have a deep understanding of the text. There are several characteristics that can make a text complex, specifically around the 4 dimensions of text complexity: meaning and purpose, language, structure, and knowledge. You can also use the ANET text complexity rubrics to help gut check your qualitative text analysis. You can find these text complexity rubrics on the Training and Resources tab under Plan from Standards for Literacy. On your screen, you are seeing an assessment of the 4 dimensions of complexity for Adorable Dormice. Click the pop-up on your screen to review the key understandings and qualitative complexities called out within this example analysis more deeply. In reviewing the qualitative complexity analysis for Adorable Dormice, and more specifically, the use of complex sentences and figurative language, difficult vocabulary words like hibernation and torpor, alongside specific details about dormice, the threats that they face, and an allusion to a different text, we have called out text features that may be unfamiliar to students. And given this example analysis, the text, language, and knowledge features specifically could present areas of challenge for your students. Now let's move on to completing the writing prompt yourself. In our example, the writing prompt for Adorable Dormice asks students to describe several different actions dormice take to survive, using details from the text in order to support their writing. Remember to take some time to answer the prompt and ask yourself, how does the writing prompt target the key understandings and complex portions of this text? In this case, the writing prompt asks students to sift through the text in order to name specific examples for how dormice stay alive, which correlates to the key understanding that dormice are really special animals because of their many traits that help them survive in the wild. Students do need to break down complex sentences and filter to the right sections of the text to find and pull out the relevant details, both about what they do to stay alive and how these actions help with their survival. Take a moment to pause the screencast to review the PCR prompt and scoring guide, along with student work examples to gain a deeper sense of what successful students' responses could look like, in addition to writing samples of other students. The following exemplar response answers the prompt by making connections between ideas presented in the text, determining which details are most relevant in order to answer the prompt, and demonstrating how each example helps aid dormice with their survival. Take another moment to pause the screencast to read the response more thoroughly. Thanks for joining me today. We've covered a lot of information, and I want to leave you with two key messages for decisions 1 and 2. The first is that analyzing student data helps provide insights into what students were able to take away from the items and writings to make changes that matter most in instruction. Second, it is important to understand a text's qualitative characteristics and answer the writing prompt yourself in order to support meaningful ELA data analysis. The support you need is just a few clicks away. Start analyzing today.